Hello and welcome to episode 77 of the Talk Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me this fine evening, as always, the one, the only, Mr. Perry Burkham.
Casey, I found something out very interesting this past week.
What's that?
Well, I've been watching King of Queens, and I just noticed that they in the fifth season, the intro song is sped up a little bit, and the key of the song is like up like a whole note or a whole tone. They speed up the music and make everything higher for the fifth season of King of Queens.
The entire episode?
The entire intro song.
But that's good. Like, get through it quicker.
The theme song. Yeah, it's a little quicker and it's hot, but it's higher. Like, so like when you hear the guy singing, it's not his real voice. It's like changed.
That's
and
so
then
weird.
they also the outro music is changed too. Just the acoustic guitar outro. It's so weird. It's changed. Like it's the same song, but they sped it up a little bit and changed the key higher. Isn't that weird?
What you should do is you should write a letter to them and be like, I demand to know why this was done. I know I've read that I forget which show it was, but it was like on the reruns they like sped up the speed of the entire show. Like instead of playing at like normal speed, it's at like 1.1 speed, so you can't really tell the difference, but they could squeeze in some more commercials.
Oh,
I forget which show that was on, like the
interesting.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Rebranding it or they're re-airing it. Yeah, it was like
that's awful.
Those
that's
dirty
terrible.
dogs,
That is dirty.
Because if you think about it, yeah, if you're just going at that little of an increased speed, you'd never really notice. I mean,
True.
I'm sure there are probably people who have really good ears that can sort of tell, but like probably to the layman person who's just not really looking out for that kind of thing. But
yeah.
They'll find any way to bend you over, Perry.
But anyway, how's it going, Casey?
Oh, it's going. It's going.
You're having a rough day, Jets-wise.
Yeah, it's the free agency. Okay, so this will post after free agency begins. But essentially, free agency starts on Wednesday at 4 p.m., but they have a 2-day legal tampering period. It's sort of weird. Essentially, the old contracts expire at the beginning of the league year, which starts at 4 on Wednesday. But for some reason, they allow a legal tampering period where teams can talk to players who are going to be free agents, but are technically still under contract.
Gotcha.
But essentially, it's just like all the news of where everyone's going sort of takes place over these couple days. And the big hopes was that the Jets would finally have a quarterback in Kirk Cousins, and then that dirty dog decided to go to the Minnesota Vikings. So then it was like, all right, the Jets are going to get Teddy Bridgewater, and then it's like the Jets signed Josh McCown, and it was like, oh no. he was our guy last year, but he's like 39. It's just like, but then we got Bridgewater too, so things are starting to shape up. But oh god. Not great at the quarterback position, but I guess we can hopefully get something in the draft.
It's funny because I feel like Doug from King of Queens is the combination of me and you. It's like if I lived in Long Island.
Yeah.
He lives there. He's obsessed with the Jets.
Yep.
He's a big fat guy.
He's a Jim. He's a Jim.
He's a Jim.
Jets
Islanders, Mets fan.
Yep. Although I can't 100% comment on his Islander fandom, but I know he's a Jets and Mets fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always, especially the Mets, I feel like you see, or maybe I guess it's just the nature. I probably go to more Mets games over the course of the year than a Jets game. You always see him up on the big board, where like they'll have him doing the, hey, I'm Kevin James, let's go Mets.
That's amazing.
Get the rallies going,
Yes. Well, speaking of Kevin James, we should get into what we've been playing, because we have a bunch of games to talk about. We have not as big. I think it's, let's see, only 18 games this week.
Only 18.
Yep. After that, we have a Hardy News section.
Oh, well, don't lie to the people.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I thought it was, but it's not.
No, this week we can easily say it's a light week, which makes sense after the Direct, and essentially with what was it, 66.5 was essentially our news segment for this week.
Right, and technically, I mean, we did the 0.5 episode. We kind of covered. So really, it would have been a huge news section.
Oh
right?
yeah, like I said, the news section essentially got its own half a episode. It was so Hardy, But there's some crumbs left over from last week to talk about. So
yeah, but Casey, what's our show topic this week?
Ooh, baby, Compatible is back, and should we leave it? I mean, I guess essentially, if you probably read the description or maybe seen the thumbnail on Twitter, you already know what we're going to talk about. But we could leave them in the dark. On.
Let's leave them in the dark, but give them a little hint.
All right. What are you thinking? You got a good little teaser?
Yeah, you could ride this in the sea,
or you could play it under a blanket in your car.
Ooh, there you go, and which is how Casey did.
Yes,
but yeah, yep. And then we also have a little listener mail at the end. So this is a packed episode, Case. Packed.
Yeah, we better get right on into it then, right? And speaking of pack, I've been playing a little game called Pacman Championship Edition 2 Plus. It's a mouthful.
Boom.
It was a mouthful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially this game I have never played.
Tell me all about it. I don't know anything about it.
Yep, I've not played a Championship Edition. I do enjoy Pac-Man, of course. The classic arcade-style Pac-Man is always fun. I've always actually been a fan growing up. I remember I think it was, I know it was for the SNES. I think it was like Pac-Man Adventure 2, something like that. Like a weird 2D side-scrolling, like, I think it was a platformer. I don't know. It's super weird.
Isn't that in Smash Bros? In the Wii U version? Isn't there a stage based on that game?
Maybe.
I swear
I don't know.
There's something weird with Pac-Man.
It's a super weird game.
Okay.
Very, very weird game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I didn't really know much about Championship Edition, so I watched Neil's review on Nintendo World Report TV, and it looked really cool, so I was like, all right, let's get into it. Now, when you buy this game, you open it up, and essentially you could go into Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, or they have, like, the Championship Edition 2 Plus mode, which is, like, a two-player, like, I guess, obviously, joint co-op mode. I did not really play much of that, so I can't really talk too much into it. I know last week I said I would explore it a little more. I didn't get time to, unfortunately. But for what I did get to play was the just standard Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 mode. Let's see how many times I can say that title. And when you get in there, there's a few different modes. Like, they have, like, I believe, like, a story mode of some sort. But I was just doing the arcadey high score modes. And when you get into it, you start out on, like, the easiest. And then there's, like, it's like an easy and normal. Then you unlock the hard mode of that particular type of maze. And unlike Pac-Man, you actually can... I'm trying to think what the best way to exactly explain this would be. So when you get into each board, right, you get in there and you eat pellets, and as you eat the pellets, a gauge fills up, and then eventually a fruit comes out, and by getting the fruit, you jump to the next board. So that's sort of the game plan. It's like, eat as many pellets as you can. If you eat them all, you get a little bonus. You get these things called bombs, which you can use to sort of jump back to the very original spot on the board where you start. So if you're in a pinch with ghosts, you can sort of pop out of there really quick, which is actually, super helpful because there are times, as I explained, why this game gets really crazy sometimes. But essentially, as you're going through each stage, or I was going to say each screen, but technically not screens. But anyway, you go through, and there's almost like a set line that you're going to travel. Like, when you jump into it, they pretty much laid out, like, okay, I follow these pellets, and they go along a line that will literally, you could go one straight line, collect everything, and then get back to the beginning. And you'd think that'd be weird that they sort of laid out there like that for you, but it's sort of managing running that line while avoiding the ghosts, which becomes, you know, in the beginning isn't too difficult, but as you continue to progress, it becomes really hard because throughout the stage there will be little ghosts on the track, you know, that where all the pellets are. And when you run by them, they jump to the other, like, your set, you know, how obviously you have a couple ghosts, you know, what are there, 4 colors or 5 color ghosts that sort of go out. In the easy mode, one of those ghosts will start, like, chaining. So it'll be like, okay, we got the red ghost. I ran past a couple of these little ghost icons on the map. Now all of a sudden that ghost has 3 ghosts, and he's like a snake almost. So it sort of adds that weird little element as you pass these spots on the board as you collect the pellets.
Okay.
The ghosts become longer and longer, and therefore it's harder to dodge, you know what I mean? Is that making sense?
Gotcha. Yep.
So on the easiest mode, only one ghost will start to, you know, become like a snake, yeah. Or a chain. And then when you get into the, you know, normal one, all of them start to get that, so it becomes even more difficult. And then the hardest difficulty is, like, it gets really, really crazy. They become very fast. And then when the fruit spawns, it actually starts to run away, so that... The really hard one is tough, especially later on. Because, yeah, it's like, at least when in the other modes, you could take one of your bombs and jump to the beginning, you know, or you can, you know, all right, I know where I need to get to the fruit. But in the hard mode, it's like, when you get close, it starts running away. And then it's like, oh, I need to hope I pick the right way, you know, because it's going to try and skate away. But what's interesting is you can actually touch these ghosts. So, like, one shot is not going to kill you. You could bump into them a few times, and then they will become, like, enraged, if you will. And, like, if it's a chain, it'll turn into one, and he'll be, he's pissed off, dang it. And he becomes, like, pulsating, and then if he hits you, then you lose a life. So it's nice to be able to have a little leeway, and I think that makes sense because when the ghosts start getting really long, you know, like, it's difficult to even just miss, you know, the tail end as they run by, because there really are levels where there are a ton of these ghost icons that add more to the chain, and usually you could tell, like, oh, this one's got a lot. When you finish certain stages, and you eat the fruit, all of a sudden the ghosts become vulnerable, and you need to go eat them. And since they're super chained, you get a ton of points when you catch them, you know, because you end up in, like, a cool, like, it comes up off the board out of the screen in, like, a cool sort of animation. You chomp down on the entire chain. But yeah, I mean, it's really fast paced. When the modes I was doing for, like, the high score, it'd give you 5 minutes, and you just try and score as high as you can, and there's a ranking. So, you know, you start out, I think, at D, and then you work your way up C, B, A. And, you know, to get an A, you definitely need to play the level pretty effectively and efficiently. Because, like I said, how they...
You mean for each stage you're ranked?
No, for the entire run. So when you beat a stage,
Gotcha.
Like, you know the pen where all the ghosts start out? Like, it's sort of like when you beat a level, it's like, oh, you all jump into that, and then, like, there's another level underneath it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So you just keep level after level after level. And how I said, like, there's sort of like a set line that's the most effective way to do a puzzle. When you're on that and you're paying attention and you're not, you know, getting thrown off by the ghosts, it feels nice to be able to go around that. But when the ghosts come and get you and you sort of have to deter your track, it becomes really hectic, and it's difficult to sort of get back on pace, you know? Most of the times I feel like when I got to, like, oh, crap, I'm off the right path I wanted to go, now there are ghosts sort of blocking your way, and the little ghost icons that are on the level when you run by them, you can run through them, but like you sort of bounce on them a little bit, so it holds you up and makes you a little more vulnerable to the actual ghosts that are coming around. But yeah, it's really fast paced, and like I said, it's like 5 minutes, but like it's over like that. You know what I mean? Like it really, I got sucked into it for like the weekend I bought it, which at this point was like 2 weekends ago. I was just nonstop playing it. It would be like, oh well, like all right, I'll do one more, or I'll do one more, you know. And
so, I mean, it's a high score though, right? I mean, like.
Yeah.
Right, you're shooting for a high score.
Yeah, I think there are actual like puzzle things, like a puzzle mode, or not a puzzle mode. Hold on 1 second. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean because this is that the only? Is it just a 5-minute mode? That's it?
Well, you've got the score attack mode, which is what I was just talking about, and then they have an adventure mode, which is more like you jump in there and they have like different objectives, and you know, there's some bosses and stuff in there too. So it's a little varied gameplay on that. And then, like I said, the Switch version with the Plus, you've got the co-op mode, which I know has bosses and stuff in it. I just haven't really gotten to actually play it yet, really. So, I mean, I think it's $20 on the eShop. Like I said, to me, the Championship Pac-Man like gameplay is really fun because it's a little more fast-paced, a little more frantic, I think, than like your standard Pac-Man. And yeah, I thought it was really fun. I'm trying to think. What's really cool is before each puzzle, you could sort of you have a different options. You could change like which Pac-Man, you know, visuals. So you could have like the Pac-Man and the ghosts be like 8-bit. You could be the more like 3D looking, and they let you alter how it looks between the pellets, the music on the stage, how the maze looks. So it's got a lot of customizability. Nope, customization.
Nope. See, yeah, you did the same thing last time.
Shut up.
That's funny. No, it's just like that's a word, customability.
I should just start saying that from now on.
You should,
just with like such confidence, you know. The customability of that game is unbelievable, and that's what I'm sticking with. But yeah, no, I think it's a lot of fun. $20, like I said. I had my fun for $20. Might be a game a little better served on a sale, but you know, there are some online leaderboards too.
Sounds like a good old $7.50 purchase for me.
Yeah, even a $9.99, I would implore you at $9.99. But
all right.
But yeah, no, I certainly enjoyed it. If you like Pac-Man, you know, it might be worth kicking the tires on this one.
I mean, I've always been interested in this concept of, like, you know, the classic gameplay, updated, frantic, crazy. And like I said, I've always wanted Donkey Kong Championship Edition. Always wanted that. I thought that would be so cool.
Yeah, but what are they waiting for? Come on, Nintendo.
I don't know. I could see them. I could see Bandai Namco doing it, you know? Like, I could see them do, like, literally Donkey Kong Championship Edition. I could see that, you know? Same branding almost, whatever.
That would be really cool.
It would be. But speaking of really cool, you ever been up in the cold Canada?
Nope, never been to Canada.
I've been there once in Toronto.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
No, I hear it's really nice up there, but I've never been, despite not really being that far away from it.
Yeah, you're right. You're close. But anyway, the land of the snow. I have been playing a game that takes place there, and that is called Kona. So, Kona, I'm gonna guess that you don't know what this game is.
No, I really don't know much about it at all, aside that it is a cold Canada, a cold Canadian mystery. Would you say I'm on par with that?
Yes, it really is. See, so what this is, it's a first-person adventure game, and you know what? There's some, you know, being first-person. I don't know, like, I could totally see combat introduced in the game so far. I mean, like, there's screenshots of things that I've seen that look like there could be some sort of combat, but so far I haven't played too much in the game yet. So far it's a very
walking sim.
It's very interesting. So it takes place. You're a detective being called to a case in this town, and you go there, and it's blizzarding, and you get in a car wreck, and with like because you almost miss it, like a guy's comes zooming away and he almost hits you, and then you miss him and then you fall into a ditch, and
that's never good in the snow.
Well, it's crazy because you wake up and then it was blizzarding. Like it wasn't really snowy then. But you wake up and everything's covered in snow and it's blizzarding and you're freezing, you know. So the first thing you got to get out your car, and so by this time I'm already interested because the graphics are surprisingly really good. Like this looks like, I mean, very realistic, you know. But the lighting looks good. I mean, everything. It's impressive, just to be honest. So you know, and it's funny because like when you're driving this car, you get in a car and like you're driving through and it feels like it's a VR game. Like it feels like a VR game. Like I'm wondering if it is. It might be. I don't know, but it feels like it, and it's crazy because like it feels like you're driving a car. It's really weird. I can't explain it, but I'm like
they nail the feeling, huh?
They do, because like you can look around, you know, like you know, you can look around. You can't look 360 because you couldn't be able to turn your neck that far, you know. But you can look around left to right, and if you look right, like if you look far back right, then you actually lift your hand up and put it like on the seat, like you would if you were in a car looking backwards, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, just little touches like that. It's cool. It's narrated by a very deep voiced man. And it's just very mysterious, and there's some humor peppered in there, and stuff like that. But it's a pretty serious game. I mean, it's in the sense of kind of Stranger Thingsy, like in the sense of it's eerie. It's very eerie. It's very
unsettling.
Snow eerie, unsettling. Yeah, because you don't know what's going on. And you know, you walk in and there's no one there. You know, it's this town, and there's just there's no life. I mean, but like I said, you know, first your first thing you do is you just try to find shelter and warm yourself up. And it's not a big sprawling game. It's not hard. It's pretty linear. I mean, you know, like there's not a lot. Yeah,
it's not like an open world,
which I really like. Yeah, like it's not this big huge thing with. There's a lot of direction, which I appreciate. And so, you know, you go into this place and you're also picking stuff up on the way there. And so you pick up some wood and a fire starter and something else. And then you actually make a fire inside of a stove inside of this little abandoned garage thing. And then you warm yourself up, and there's like a little meter for your warmth that, you know, has to fill up. And there's a meter for, I think it's like sanity in that idea. I mean, they don't say that, but it's like your brain your power.
Your brain freeze meter.
yeah. I mean, I hate to, because like if you say it out loud, it sounds really goofy, but if you saw it, it makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I mean, when you're out, but man, it makes you feel so cold.
Oh, it sounds amazing. Maybe I will like this game.
Oh man, I want to play this game in the middle of the summer. I feel like it'd cool me down.
Yeah, who needs an AC?
Like, I was sitting there. I was playing it with like Jill was walking in. You know, I'm like, I'm cold. She looked at the screen, and I just told her I'm cold. You know, this game, because you know you're going around and you start to freeze, and you can see your breath and stuff.
Yeah, that's nice atmospheric stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah, very atmospheric. And so so you know, anyway, you're investigating, you are a detective, you're figuring out what's going on. Everything's really weird. I'm not going to get too spoily, but you know, you do find a dead person, and then you have to it's not graphic or violent.
Well, then I'm not interested
yet. But I've just played to this next section where it's starting to get creepier. Like maybe like it's hinting at something possibly like supernatural, like it's hinting at that, or like a monster even, like something weird is going on, you know, and you're kind of checking out everything. It's just, and it's like I was inside of this house, this empty house, and I had my headphones on and on my Switch, you know, and I'm wandering around. I'm like, anything could happen right now, and I would be freaked out.
Yeah.
Like I was actually like, I am completely devoted to this game, and for all I know, because I don't really know anything too much about it, something could jump out and freak the crap out of me. You know, so. And then, like, you hear, like, stuff moving. Like, you hear, like, pots and pans.
God, or a crick somewhere.
But it is, I mean, I won't spoil anything. But, yeah, it's like, it's... Anyway, I am very excited to play more of it. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I mean, it's definitely a game that, like I said, you're going to need to devote attention to, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to... Yeah, not a podcast game.
Yeah, or you better not be playing games over there, Jimmy.
No, I meant listening to a podcast.
No, I know what you meant.
I ain't no Jimmy.
What you meant.
I'm the biggest Jim there is.
You are a Jim. You literally are.
I know, and that's why I get upset all the time.
And apparently, it takes place in 1970, which I didn't realize that.
No cell phones.
Yeah, but yeah, the publisher. I believe it's Coach Media. I don't know how to. It's Koch.
Koch.
Coke. Media. They sent us a code for this, so we really appreciate it. Definitely be hearing more about it next week. But it's also like I'm not gonna spoil anything. I kind of gave you the premise for what's going on, but
yeah, that seems like a game that's
we'll see
more,
how it holds up.
Yeah, story driven. So it's like, yeah, how much do you really want to get into that without spoiling anything too much?
I mean, so far the graphics are very impressive, and they're really cool in the game's environment. I mean, it has done very good at creating an ambiance to play this game. So, you know, I mean, and it borders that. I mean, like I said, I haven't got into it, so I really don't. I mean, you know, like I've played like a couple hours, and for all I know, like this could get like super horror. Or, you know, or it just stays on the edge of eeriness. Like, I don't know. So, I don't know, Casey. Yeah. It's a Canadian mystery.
Well, that's good. You don't want to know. You know what? I hope the game, it sounds like it's probably going to tease you along, you know, like hinting at that vulgar or that like real brutal stuff, but then maybe not really. Maybe like towards the end, they'll give you like an impactful moment. Make it count, you know? It's when those... Sometimes they give a little bit too much of that stuff, and it's just diminishing returns, as they say.
Absolutely. Yep. I love the slow...
The slow burn, baby, yep. See, that's what was cool about Outlast, was that it... With the, like, patients roaming the building, you know? And not everyone was an enemy, you know? Not everyone was coming after to attack you, so it made... interacting with any patient sort of like unsettling, because you never know. It's like, oh, is this person going to come at me and attack me, or are they just sort of going to mind their own business, you know? A little hot, a little cold, you know?
Yep. Very cool. But you have reviewed a certain roguelike shoot 'em up. What should we call that? A rogue 'em up?
Rump.
A rum up.
A rum up. Romp.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it?
Yes, that is Steredenn, Binary Stars. Yes, now this is a shoot 'em up that is also a roguelike, as you mentioned. Now, to me, it seems like the perfect fit of two different genres together, you know? Shoot 'em ups, I feel like often sort of have that roguelike feel to them, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, they basically are, you know?
Yeah, because I think back to, like, when I was playing, like, Gradius 2 or 3 on Super Nintendo, and it'd be like that first initial part of the run, you're powering up, you're feeling like super good, and you're like, oh, I could take on anything. Then you die, and then they're like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna give you no power-ups and just start you like right in the middle of everything anyway, you know. So it's like more often than not you were sort of screwed anyway, you know. So this game instead just full-on roguelike. If you die, you restart. You don't have any power-ups or anything. You just start from the get-go. Now,
with this game,
yes.
Now, are there any permanent upgrades at all that can help you?
No. This is this is a roguelike. So when you like to the definition, if you will, I guess. So each run you start, and you know, depending on I guess you unlock ships. I don't know if that's, you know, essentially when you meet a certain point along the in the game, when you beat a certain boss, you unlock a new ship that you can use in further runs, you know, but it's not like the ships are getting more powerful, or like you can select which weapons. Those are, I mean, each ship has its base weapon, and then any weapon you get out in the battlefield is just random, you know, random drops from the cargo ships. Mm-hmm. But what the game does best, I think, are the weapons. I mean, I really like the boss design as well, but I'll get into that in a second. But the weapons themselves are pretty fun and pretty varied. So when you're out there, like I said, you like a standard shoot 'em up. This is a 2D side-scrolling shoot 'em up. So you're gonna have you know, your enemies coming in at you, and you start off, like I said, with your base attack, and you know, it's usually your a relatively standard attack. You know, whether it's the fire blaster or more energy blaster. But when you're out there, you get a bunch of different power-ups, and they really range all over the place. You can get like a shotgun, which is essentially just, you know, it has a little bit of a cooldown between shots, and it just shoots quite a few in sort of like cluster. You've got homing bullets, you've got like lasers, you know, there's a big laser that sort of takes a second to charge up, but it does a ton of damage. But
I think I know my favorite one, though.
Is it the laser?
Nope.
Oh,
big sword.
I was gonna say, I forgot you watched the video. Yes, the big sword, or like the saw. Like there's some weird power-ups as well, but they're fun because, like you said, the sword, it literally just attaches a huge sword to the front of your ship, and when you attack, it just extends a little bit. So it does a ton of damage, but the bad news is you really need to be up close and personal.
It's the classic quandary.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, do you want to deal big damage but get punched right in the face? And more often than not, it's too tempting not to.
Exactly.
But I thought my favorite power-ups were the actual bots. So with this game, as I said, you pick up power-ups, and you have 2 slots for a power-up, and you could switch between it. So it's not like some more classic shoot-em-ups where you just keep gathering more firepower, and, you know, just literally like, oh, you've got like 50 projectiles coming out of your ship. Instead, this is, you just get 2 weapon slots, and you can change in between. And it's nice because one of the weapon types are bots. So essentially you just shoot out like a little stationary drone, and it just peppers the field with bullets, which is nice because you can sort of throw those out and then move to a different area. So it's like you have a little cover fire, and you know, you've got like, oh, okay, the bots are going to sort of take the enemies coming from the bottom of the screen. I can sort of pay attention to the top, you know? Mm-hmm. That's generally the most success I found was with those doing that sort of technique. It's tough. This game is really, really tough. And there's really no way to get better aside from just playing. There's no like difficulty settings, or like the game doesn't throw you any like life jackets on the, you know, to sort of be like, oh, well, like you're struggling here, let's help you out. It's really just sort of beating your head against the wall. Which, you know,
it's good old-fashioned get good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, can be a good or a bad thing, I guess, sort of going with your mindset into this game. If you really love those difficult roguelikes that, you know, it's going to take you a long time to really put the time in and get good, you know, then this might be right up your alley. But if you're sort of turned off from that, and, you know, you don't really want to just keep trying the same thing over and over again with, potentially very little progress, then this game might not be for you. As far as everything goes, like I said, I think the game feels really good. The controls are good. The power-ups are really good. It doesn't really... it doesn't look bad by any standard, but it doesn't really do anything that's, unique per se. If you look at this game, you're like, oh, it looks like your sort of standard shoot 'em up. I think the bosses are well designed. So essentially how the game works is there are little segments that each run consists of, and as you progress, obviously it gets more difficult. But you'll go through, you'll fight some enemies. Usually 1 or 2 cargo ships come out, so you can sort of mix and match your weapons. Then you have a boss at the end, and the boss has a few different phases. The beginning of the bosses are a little easier, and then all of a sudden, again, as you progress, it really ramps it up. But I thought the bosses were really fun. They were satisfying to get to. And then when you beat the boss, you actually do... it gives you 4 or 5 different options of little modifiers to boost your ship's capabilities. So, and it really varies on how your playstyle is. So there's some that's you do more damage. You want big, powerful weapons preferred, so, more of the cargo ships will be, the really big, heavy-duty weapons that do a lot of damage. There's things like more health, more defense, your reloading is quicker, switching between guns, there's no cooldown, it's, right on the fly. So they have a nice mix of things there, which lets you sort of personalize each run, and, it could also be based on, these are the weapons I have, so this power-up will actually sort of play to those strengths, So it's fun to mix and match there as well. But really, this game is super tough. Like I said, I could... It's definitely not for everyone. If you're really not in favor of really struggling, really repetitively doing something over and over again, this game, isn't really going to do it for you. They do have co-op, which you share a life bar, so you think it might be easier, but it's actually could be a little more difficult depending on if your partner is not up to snuff. You might actually sort of hinder the team more than actually help it. And then there's some boss modes. They've got
something. This would be fun to play together.
Yeah, I mean,
me and you, buddy.
Yeah, that it would be. You might be too bad for me.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, it is fun. Like I said, it's tough, and if you're into that kind of thing, it's probably worth checking out. But if you're more of a casual shoot 'em up fan and you're not really looking to get into something that's really going to give you a lot of resistance, then this one might not be for you. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was a tough but fun game.
Well, after you've struggled with a really tough game, or you're at work and it's just been tough, the boss is on you, and or you go home and there's just...
The dog ate your shoe, and
you just need to get away from... you found out your wife bought Pepsi, and,
She's a keeper.
Well, and you just need to get away. So, what are you going to do? You're going to go swimming, am I right?
Maybe a little dip in the hot tub?
Well, or at a public swimming pool, indoor.
Ooh, that actually sounds pretty... That might be more enjoyable, actually.
All right, but I can't, you can't stand when you're running into people all the time at the public pool,
No, that's no good.
Well, luckily, there has been a game crafted for this just to teach you how to not run into people while you're swimming. And that game is a game that I've been playing called Swim Out.
Ooh, Swim Out. Now, this is another game I really don't know anything about. I would say I actually know less about this game than I knew about, what was the first game called? Kona?
Yeah. Yeah, I literally told you, what it's about.
Well, how does it play? What is this a puzzle game? Is this an action RPG?
It is a puzzle game. It's like a. I mean, it's like a. Like a.
Is it like a board?
Yeah, basically, you're moving stuff. Okay, it's a puzzle game. I just don't know exactly what kind of what you'd say. It's a
top down.
Here, a strategic turn-based puzzle game. There we go. That's how I need to put it.
Is that what Nintendo? Is that how I was gonna say? Is that how Nintendo's
That's what the press kit
webpage
says,
says?
Yeah.
Exciting gameplay.
Right. They sent us a code for this game. It comes out, I believe, the 20th, March 20th.
March 20th, yes, sir.
Yeah, and so it's a puzzle game, and it says turn-based, but really it's a very fast-paced because it's not like Fire Emblem or anything. You're not like deciding on what to do. You're just moving in turns, and so what you do is you're this blue swimmer. And there's stages, there's levels. It's a pool, right? And there's these red swimmers that you just can't run into. So they move in blocks.
I bet they're always getting in the way too.
Right. When you move, they move. That's just how it works. So you move one, and they'll move, and then they're going in a certain direction. Like they're gonna go straight until they hit the wall, then they're gonna turn around and come back. So you're just trying to avoid them. That's the game.
Now, and they're on their own little patrol paths, I bet, right? For each individual one has like a set.
Well, like I said, like they're really, you start off and they're just going straight. And once they hit the wall, they turn around, they come back. And then they start introducing new stuff. Like, for instance, ones that are twice as wide. So, so they still move in a pattern, but they're going to be harder to miss because they're 2 blocks tall or 2 blocks wide. They also add in little corner things so that when they hit a corner, instead of acting like a wall, they'll actually turn 90 degrees and go
along
the other way. Yep.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What's that?
You have never played an Etrian Odyssey game, right?
No.
So essentially, when you're in like the areas, you sort of map out the area on the bottom screen, but you run into these FOEs, I believe they're called. There's some sort of name for them, but essentially they're on like little paths themselves, and they're really, really strong, and they usually decimate you. So it's like you need to sneak around it, and they're sort of on that path where it's like, okay, they're gonna go that way. I need to, and with every tile you move, they make a move. So it sounds sort of similar to that, which is interesting to see an entire game built around that mechanic.
Well, the funny thing, right, this is just a very simple game. Now, what attracted me to it was just how goofy it is. It sounds like a WarioWare game. It really, and it kind of looks like a WarioWare game. Like, it looks very Asian-inspired, just because of how wacky. It's not like, there's nothing like, like the WarioWare games where
it's got that weird sense of humor.
Yeah, where it's just kind of like, what is going on? You're just not running into people while you're swimming. Is that really the point of the game? It's funny. So, and that's why I thought, okay, this sounds fun. It's kind of cool because this might be a mobile game because there's touch controls.
Yes, I believe when I Googled it, I saw that there was a mobile version.
So, you can swipe, with your fingers, but then you can also play with the D-pad, which is way easier. But I was like, why would you do that with swipe with fingers? But then I realized, well, when you're recording a podcast, you won't have to hear the button presses.
Perfect. So are you playing Swim Out right now?
Shh.
The podcasts are just going to consist of us both playing our respective games from now on. Like, this is the segment where we both play our games.
But so far, there's not tons to it. They it's kind of like Box Boy, where they do introduce new things a lot. They don't repeat a lot of stuff. For instance, I was stuck on this one puzzle, like, how do you get past, like, I was like, this seems like it's impossible. Like, the way it works out, you cannot align yourself up to get past these people. And then I realized, oh, wait, I can get out of the pool, so it's like, but without going to because you have to make it to the final. You make it through, and you have to make it to like a final
stairs
goal,
or something,
right? Yeah, I was like, oh, there's more stairs on this side, so I left the pool, and I went into another pool, and I was like, this is weird, like on the same
jumping
puzzle,
in another man's
pools.
pool.
Yeah, yeah, and there's also upgrades. I mean, there's like weapons kind of that you can use.
Snorkel.
That sounds funny to say. It's not really a weapon, but it's like a beach ball, I think is what it is. And you can throw them at people in like a certain area, and then that will make them stop moving, that one person.
Oh, that's sort of cool.
For 3 turns. Oh, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. And so there's a lot of there's tons of strategy already, but then that just adds to it. So, yeah, there's a lot of strategic element to it. And it is delightful. I mean, it's nothing special, right? This is just like, this could be a Game Boy game. It'd be a cool Game Boy game, actually. In fact, there should be a Game Boy mode.
The tinted green.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But I love it.
I was going to say,
I think it's great.
The puzzles themselves, I know you said early on they're pretty straightforward, where they're just going back and forth.
Yeah.
But are you finding some of these puzzles ramping up its difficulty?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're tough. I mean, this is definitely a challenging game. No matter what you think. And so I mean, it starts off easy, but I mean, there's bunches of levels. Like for instance, there's a lot more levels than I thought. So there's 7 worlds.
Yeah, it says over 100, right?
Yeah, there's 7 worlds with 15 levels in each. So, and there's there's collectibles in each thing. So you can play through them, and there you can collect stars, or you can just not get the stars.
Sort of like Slime Song with the apple. It's like it's there if you want to, test yourself. But, yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, so far, so far I haven't seen tons like the aesthetic hasn't changed, but that I'm only in World 2, so
yeah, maybe some of the later ones.
Oh, actually, yeah, I just so it's cool. You can play any puzzle you want, and I just skipped ahead, and yeah, they look different, and there's tons of different things that happen. There's waves that come out, and it's a lot. I mean, it gets very complicated. So I can see this game getting pretty dang hard. The nice thing is that it's turn-based, so you don't really have to worry too much. Like you could there's a certain it's not Twitch-based. So
yeah, you sort of remember if you fail a puzzle, you sort of remember how to get to that point. So you can sort of get there.
Yeah, it's it's very straightforward. It'll always be the same. There's no randomization to it. So you know what I mean.
Sounds like you could look your if you run into some trouble, you could look up your YouTube solution.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, and so you know what? Playing around with the touchscreen controls, it's kind of cool because you just swipe any direction, and you don't actually have to touch the player. You can just swipe left or up.
Oh,
or down,
wherever on the screen.
Yeah, so it actually works pretty well. So
That's
this
nice.
is a game
you
could play completely on your Switch tablet without the Joy-Cons, like World of Goo. So it's a fun little game. It's I'm not sure how much it's gonna cost.
$5.99.
But oh really? Oh
yep.
Yeah, that's a great price. Yeah, that's great. So check it out when it comes out. I believe we should have it on the eShop.
Yeah, by next
week. I believe.
Or 2 weeks.
Right? Nope, I think next week. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. 2 weeks.
Are you allowed to talk about this game, Perry?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I believe. They said I could preview it, so. It's a preview, right?
It's out on iOS.
Not reviewing
they can't
it.
be that angry.
That's true. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, once again, that's Swim Out on the Switch. Be sure to check that out.
Yes, sir.
But I think that's going to do it for what we've been playing. Well, I do need to say, we did get to play some Resident Evil Revelations 2 just for a half hour the other night, and it was so much fun playing with you.
Yes, sir. That was...
I can't wait to dig into that.
Yeah, that was a blast. Just a super arcadey, fun, drop you into a little area. You need to kill everything that's in it, and then you go to the end and you smash a coin and you're done with it. You get some points. You can upgrade your character.
You don't smash a coin. you headbutt or punch.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and we were noobs, so we had to start with the easy missions that were very easy, but we started getting into the harder ones, and
yeah, but we skipped ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We started to get into the harder ones, and you could tell we need to upgrade our weapons because they just become bullet sponges.
Oh man, I like the sniper.
Pop them off.
But man, there's some cool. Well, we'll talk about this. There's some cool levels, but I hope we can play some more this week and maybe talk about it next week.
Yes, I mean we have our game night on Friday as well.
Exactly.
Which
is what I wanted to pimp out right now.
Yeah, I know we were talking with Estuardo about playing some Resident Evil. I was thinking it was 4 players, so I was thinking we would be able to get a bunch of people, but that might have to be post game night. Some game night after hours Resident Evil fun.
Or maybe we can get like
a couple different groups.
Another person and then we can just kind of just sit together.
Can mix and match, sort of rotate partners. Yeah, that'd be fun. But I know we definitely gonna be playing a bunch of games on Friday night. So I think we wanted to aim maybe some Mario Kart, maybe some ARM.
Yeah, I was thinking Mario Kart and maybe Rocket League.
That works. We get our cars in.
We did Splatoon and ARMS last time. So
get some car action in. And that's going to be when 9 p.m. Eastern time, right? Is what we're going to be aiming for. So
absolutely,
very good, very good. We'll have all the information on Twitter. So and we'll refresh that before we end the podcast. But
remember, we're going to be doing a game night exclusive giveaway during that game night. So if you've ever, I don't exactly know how I'm going to. We might do a little competition. We might do trivia, we might do something.
Yeah, it might be random.
We'll figure out something fun. But if you're ever thinking you want to win a prize, that's going to definitely be the best bet.
Yep. But again, we're going to have more details on that on our Twitter and probably at the end of the show. But on that note, let's take a quick little breather, Perry, and then I think we have 18 games to talk about.
We do. Giddy up. We are back with the eShop Roundup.
The eShop Roundup. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. All right. And Casey, what's this first game we got?
Starting us off right, the Men of Yoshiwara. Ogaya? For $14.99?
It must be Ogaya. It looks like a typo, doesn't it? But
yeah,
it's not. That's
sort
the real
of.
world.
It's Ohgiya. Ogaya. That must be something like that. So this looks like an interesting little adventure game. It's a popular romance game in Japan aimed at a female audience. Step into the pleasure district of Yoshiwara with the roles of male and female reversed and enjoy a heart-rendering love story.
Yeah, I think we had this before. A heart-rending. I don't even know what that is. A heart-rending love story?
Did I say that right?
I think you said rendering.
I don't know. Rending?
Anyway,
yeah. Oh, maybe I just...
All I know is the art. I mean, it looks really nice and high quality. So, looks nice on the Switch. But
one of the quotes from the screenshots. It's far too early to return to reality. Stay in my arms and in the dream. From Takigawa.
Oh, man. Well,
this game
Casey,
seems hot and heavy.
It would not be a week.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know.
I like when it comes out early, it's less stress as we climb down the game here.
There's a screenshot from this game, which is Real Bout Fatal Fury, with a guy that looks a lot like you. If you put a little, some glasses and a little beard on him.
Are you talking about this main guy right here with his arms crossed?
Yes.
I wish my pecs looked that big.
Those are his pecs. They look like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pecs.
That means they're huge.
Yeah.
Well, if
also means you have a shell.
I'll take a shell, man. Get to retreat in there, keep me safety.
Fatal Fury.
What's that kind of game?
I wonder what. It's a there's blood.
It's a good old fighting game.
It's a fighting game.
Yeah.
Man, the screenshots.
Oh man.
See, I'm the guy in the suit coat.
Oh, at the end with that slicked back hair.
Blonde hair. That's me, buddy.
Oh baby. Yep. Yep. That's another fighting game. If you guys have not had your fill yet, you can definitely jump over there and. Neo Geo Hamsters got you covered, but moving right along, we've got Bleed 2 for $14.99. Now this is like an advent. It sort of looks like a Mega Man-ish game, right? Sort of.
It does with
a shooter platformer.
Pixel art. I think Bleed came out. I think the first one's on here as well. Yeah, I think exactly. It's 7 levels with over 25 boss fights. So I think it's definitely like Mega Man, and it looks like it. I mean, looks like the gameplay is like it, but it has a cute little art style. So
25 boss fights sounds like quite a bit.
Seriously, but that's $14.99. Now this next game has a special place in Case's heart.
Sure does, and that is Midnight Deluxe for $3.99. Now, I played Fragments, right?
Yep.
I forget 36 Fragments of Midnight. Okay. So this game, I believe, is sort of like a deluxe version of that, essentially, as you would imagine by the name Deluxe.
Game.
What's up?
It says golf-like game. I think it has golf physics. Is that how the first one was?
I don't think so.
You didn't hit it like a golf.
No, yeah, you ran around and jumped.
Yeah, so this is different.
So this looks like a riff on the original one.
And this has 70 engaging levels that get progressively harder, which isn't the same as the other one, right?
the original was literally you were just finding X amount of fragments in this world, and that was it, and it was just platforming. So this looks like it might be
a lot better.
It looks like it might be a little more engaging.
And it's only $3.99.
Yeah, I mean it looks
nice
exactly like 36 Fragments, like as far as the aesthetic goes. But that was the strong point from 36 Fragments. So who knows? Maybe this one steps up a little bit.
Yep. But speaking of stepping up, how about stepping up on the Trail Frontier Challenge?
Ooh-wee! Now,
yeah, so
this game is
$14.99.
It looks cool. I like the. I need to really find out what it's called, where it's sort of like that polygonal, like intentionally political. Wow, I can't speak tonight.
Intentionally, you can't.
Yeah. Intentionally political. You can't say that. Intentionally polygonal art style. Where it looks cool though. I like it.
Like Mulaka, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it does look cool. I've heard good things about this game, and bad things about the Switch port. I think it's really bad, apparently.
Ooh, that stinks.
But
I hate to hear that.
You know what game isn't really bad? Is this next game.
What game's that?
Steredenn? Are you okay? Do you need to take a nap or something?
The Jets got me all flustered tonight.
They sure do. Steredenn Binary Stars for $12.99. And this is the roguelike shoot 'em up game that we just talked about.
That's the rump.
I need to say though that the pixel art really, really hits a good nerve with me. I really like the game. This is a game that I will be picking up. I think probably on the first sale. It looks great.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what you say. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it definitely looks good, and it plays good. I wonder how you would think with the difficulty. Not to say it would be too tough, but I'm just curious to see if it would be like, if it would get that rewarding and fun, element from the difficulty, or if it'd be a turnoff.
Yeah. But check out everyone check out Casey's review at NWR TV on YouTube. It's a really good review, and it pumped me up for the game. So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome, Jim. Now this next game is Zombie, and it's quite a different zombie game. It's for $4.99. You command your zombie horde and infect the whole world, and you fool the military and ensure no one stays safe. And
sounds terrible.
It has a built-in level editor.
Ooh, that's cool. I know Perry is a sucker for a good level editor.
I am, because I like editing levels.
'Cause you're a nerd.
Otherwise, I don't really know what you do in this game. My friend Julia is reviewing it for NWR, though. I know that. So I will know more about it. Anyway, looks kind of fun. For $5. Looks like a mobile game.
Yep. Moving along here, we've got another RPG, although the first, I believe, on the eShop. I just feel like my life is all about the RPGs lately. So this one...
I do as well.
Earthlock for $29.90.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
Now, this is a nice-looking game.
Yeah, it I guess is inspired from like the classic 3D RPGs, you know, where, like the N64 PlayStation era kind of RPG, and it sort of gives that vibe with a very nice, vibrant color palette to it. And I don't know much. I know David is writing the review for the website, so cool. I'm sure we'll hear from him about exactly what it's all about. But yeah, I mean, visually looks nice. I wonder exactly how the battle system plays out. Fast-paced and highly strategic turn-based battles, so there's that.
We'll check in with David. The next one is Bit Dungeon Plus. Now, this game is out on...
the 3DS.
Is that it? Okay, because I remember talking about this before. This game looks cool. Is it a roguelike?
It's a... just says a role-playing game, so I'd imagine
it's an
not.
RPG, okay. Yeah, it looks cool. Looks like a...
cool little
dungeon.
Sprites. Yeah, it looks sort of like Binding of Isaac. Like that kind of level layout, you know, that perspective.
Like the Zelda. Now, it looks like it's in a dungeon, and it has 8 bits, and it's plus some other stuff.
Perfect. That's all you need to know.
$8.99.
Next up here, we've got World Conqueror X for $9.99. Now, this is a strategy simulation game. Looks sort of like I'm looking at the first image here. Sort of looks like Risk almost, like the board game.
It does look like Risk, yeah. And it has a bunch of military commanders. Very stern looking.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty deep actually. I'm seeing.
It sure does.
Yeah, look, it looks like maybe some sort of upgrade system. Yep. Oh, you beat me to it.
I sure did.
Yeah, like a big chain, a tree of that. So looks like it could be a pretty in-depth game.
It does show Guderian.
It is a turn-based.
Going from a lieutenant colonel to a colonel.
Oh well. So you can't trust him though.
No, you can't. Look at his face.
Yeah. Look, he doesn't look any happier after being promoted.
Yep, I do see you can play as Romania.
Oh, well, I'm out.
Anyway, yeah, interesting. Looks interesting. If you like world conquering, check out World Conqueror X, $9.99. Next up, though, we have Turtle Pop, Journey to Freedom for $19.99, and this is a Puzz form.
Ooh, the old elusive Puzz form coming to fruition.
Yep, the platform puzzle game, for those who don't know.
Man, this game looks like it is, like, the screen is always crowded and a lot of stuff going on.
I was going to say, this game kind of lacks color for the most part. There's not really any.
It's very
color
drab.
In the game. Oh, yeah, and sad. Everyone's sad.
I don't now...
That's a joke, everyone. This is the most colorful game I've ever seen.
It's like a confetti is going off on the screen at all times. You
can use your Mii. Did you see that?
I did not.
As your icon? You can use your Miis in this game.
Who uses Miis anymore? I saw Neil talking about this one, and from what I gather, it's got some good ideas, but it sort of clumsily comes together, so unfortunately it's a little like where an idea might it seems like it should work. I guess it just sort of doesn't, and it's sort of frustrating in the sense that, like, if they had executed on certain things, maybe it would have been an overall better package. But yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure we got the review up on the website for those interested to find a little bit more. But moving right along here, we've got One-Eyed. Oh God, Kuthk. Kutkh.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's up with all these games with these hard-to-pronounce names? They're supposed to be easy.
Is it so hard? Is it so hard? Anyway.
But I guess they've been messing names up
game.
Forever.
You know what this game reminds me a little bit of? Is Goner.
Yeah, it's got that that art style to it.
Art style and the colors and stuff. It looks cool.
Now, I don't really know much about this game, but it is dubbed under the Adventure Puzzle Education. A single traveler on his way home crashes on a mysterious planet. To continue his journey, he'll have to get to the 9th heaven, deceive the sun and the moon, and steal their space boats. It sounds fascinating.
And it has interesting and simple puzzles for everyone, from child to elder.
And it's a co-op, two playable. Oh wait, no, just two playable characters,
just
not
two
co-op.
different characters.
I lied. But yeah, this game checks in at $4.99.
There you go.
Very interesting. Looks cool.
Now, what else looks interesting is Spy Chameleon. Don't let the comic look fool you. Being a good RGB agent requires a lot of talent.
Now, this game came out for the Wii U as well, I believe.
Oh, did it?
When I looked it up here, Spy Chameleon for the Wii U.
Oh, there you go. This looks like I'm assuming, because there's lots of lights and cameras and things that, I'm assuming it's some sort of stealthy game. But it's an arcade puzzle adventure other.
Other. Yeah. Yeah. What's that? Is that $4.99?
$7.99.
Oh, well, you can get it for $4.99 over on the Wii U eShop.
Ooh.
If you are interested in, if you are a bargain buyer.
There you go.
There's a bargain right over there. Now, this next game we talked about a little bit before, and that is the Canadian mystery cold adventure Kona for $19.99.
Mm-hmm.
I think we pretty much said your piece on that one.
Yep, it looks awesome. It's a cool game.
Now, this next game I'm interested in.
Very interested in, and I'm torn between getting this and the physical release. Because it's like, if I'm going to invest release? In it, yes.
Well, put it in the books.
Now, this is Flint Hook for $14.99. Hook into action, shoot, loot, and plunder. So this is a roguelike game, and it's so cool looking, and it looks so fun, where you have like a grapple thing, or a hook, because you're Flint Hook. You have a mighty hook shot.
I was watching some video, and just the speed of like whipping around, because there's literally always something to throw your hook at and sort of be able to get around the screen really quickly. And it just looks like it looks really confusing at first, like it would be difficult, but once you sort of got that down, I feel like you could really navigate through the screen really, really fast, and it would be interesting to see how that plays along with defeating enemies and bosses and stuff. It looks
so good.
Yeah, this is absolutely on my radar for sure. For sure. Yeah.
And Game Critics said it's an absolute gem.
Yep.
For $14.99, I believe the physical is going to be $30, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the physical, because I've got some games right now, so I don't need it. But give me them all physical, baby.
All right. Well, next up we have Spiral Splatter for $4.99.
It's funny when you say that name. Like, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, I don't know, splatter just sounds like such like a bloody word to me.
It does, I know.
And then you see the screenshots.
Yep, it's just a brain-bending arcade puzzle game that will push your hand-eye coordination to the limit with a non-stop, mind-boggling puzzle. Yeah, so...
more puzzles.
It looks like a puzzle game.
Yep. Now, you know, it also looks like a puzzle game, but not at all, because it's actually a racing action game.
Yep.
That is Coffin Dodgers for $12.99.
Do you see the first two screenshots?
Yeah, it's like this old man. He's got like a World War II like fighter pilot, hat, and goggles set on with the coat. He's got his sandals with his socks
reminiscing.
Yeah, the old times.
Yeah, and the old times, and then the next shot is
just death. Death at the foot of his bed. And then it gets into
from the
some
first-person perspective.
I guess this is a kart racer, but the interesting thing is this last screenshot here. I see an old man on like a rascal scooter,
you skipped over.
But he's got a gun. Do you see
He
that
does?
in the last screen?
Yeah,
He's got a gun, like he's got an Uzi, and he's just shooting at the person in front of him.
That's amazing. You skipped over the funniest screenshot after the death one.
Oh, just
which is the remote, the old scooter propped up like in the mechanic's shop.
Yeah, it's on like it's suspended in air.
Yeah,
he's got like a replacement tires over there. I think that might be a NOS tank. Yeah, pimp up your mobility scooter and take on the Grim Reaper and his zombie army in a race for your soul.
That's funny.
How much is this game? $12.99. Oh man, that's amazing.
It looks pretty funny.
I know. I wish it was cheaper. Just buy it for the
But it's like a Mario Kart like game. I mean, looks like there's upgrades and silliness.
It's a literal kart racer.
Looks funny. I like the screenshots.
Now we're on our 18th game here.
That's right.
Coming to a close. Do you want to try and say this name, or do you want me to?
I'll try it. Danmaku Unlimited 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
For $9.99. Shoot, dodge, explode. Can you survive the bullet storm?
Yeah, this looks like a frantic bullet hell shoot 'em up, and that's authentically crafted Japanese-style bullet hell shoot 'em up. Brand new ultra wide mode, 60 frames per second. Looks pretty cool. Looks really, really busy. Definitely a bullet hell.
I mean, I look at this and I go, aren't there a million games exactly like this? Like Danmaku Unlimited 2? No, just like, you know what I mean? Like, it just looks like every single crazy shmup there is.
Yeah, but you know what? Like any shmup before it, it's all going to come down to how it controls and how the power-ups and the weapon upgrade system is, Because clearly, like you said, I mean, they're all generally, a shoot 'em up. Get from point A to point B while blowing tons of crap up, And it really boils down to those, how it actually plays. So I'd be interested. I think the visuals look pretty cool. I know it's definitely got that Tate mode, right? Like potato.
The Tate mode?
Is it Tate? I like Tate better. I know you. It makes you look like an idiot, and it makes me look like an idiot for associating with another idiot.
I don't care. You can call it whatever you want.
Tate. But yeah, no, that's actually part of it would be appealing. Would be to try. I tell you what, man, the Hori play stand, the best like $15 I've ever spent.
Yep, I use it all the time.
I use it all the time, and like I'll use it. Honestly, I get the most use out of it when I do my dishes. I park my phone on there so I can watch.
Exactly. I use it at work, and exactly.
It's so good. But yeah, no, it looks sort of cool. Do we say that came in at $9.99? So.
Yep.
If you like shoot 'em ups.
Yeah, and that'll we got lots of shoot 'em ups today, and but that'll do it for the eShop Roundup, and it's time for the old news block.
News Talk with Casey Gibson.
Yeah, it's a small block today, as we mentioned before. Again, we went over pretty much all the direct news last week in our special 0.5 episode for the direct. So this is really just a few pieces here.
There hasn't been really anything since, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that direct was on Thursday, and it is now Tuesday. So, not much has come out, obviously, in just a few days' time. But we did see that the new OS version of 5.0 is available for the Switch.
Yep.
And it introduces a few things. It fixes a few things. I guess to start us off, 24 new ARMS and Kirby series icons to choose for your
cool.
icon on your profile there.
That means a new Kirby game's coming out.
Yes, sir, and it means they're pushing ARMS. Then we also have digital software purchases from your PC or smart device will download sooner than previously, and it will also even do that when the console is in sleep mode. So that's a nice feature to not have to worry about, oh crap, I got to turn my system on to get it to start going, you know?
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that even did that. I thought that mine did do it while it was sleeping.
Maybe it still did or does, but maybe now it's just saying it does
Faster.
it quicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Switch Pro Controller grip colors now display on your controller.
Finally.
Which it's always sort of funny because it's like, oh, I got the yellow cons on today, you know, or so I guess if you have your cool Splatoon or maybe your cool Xenoblade Pro Controller, now your Switch knows. And I guess probably most importantly for many people, this resolved the activity log bug that sort of reset after the year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I mean, I know a lot of people were sort of up in arms about that. So I think getting that out there quick fix is always a good thing.
Absolutely. Yep. So it's your standard update. Little, nothing huge.
Yeah,
not like
nothing
the
crazy.
Fourth update or whatever it was, the one that had the video.
Oh yeah, that was big.
Crazy.
What they need is, I guess, probably 6.0, and it's probably going to be in September, if I had to guess. Will be, you know, with the online update. Give me a dang old eShop jingle tune going on. I want some music on there, and I want themes. I will give you the money for the themes, man. Just give them to me. I miss those themes from the 3DS.
I know, man.
It's like they're definitely going to have them. They have
awesome.
the theme with, you know, the white and the black theme, or the light and dark, whatever. I don't know what they technically call it. But there are going to be themes. There have to be. But maybe it'll coincide with the release of the online infrastructure. But who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
well,
do you know anything about this next little bit of news?
I'm watching the trailer right now.
Looks crazy, doesn't it?
Yes, Cluster Truck is coming to the Switch March 15th, the day this is posting.
Yeah, I didn't know much about this game aside from that I knew it had a reputation. Like, I'd heard the name before, and I knew there was positive buzz around it, and it totally makes sense. This game, I guess it's just a series of, like, puzzles, I'm assuming, or levels, where you're just literally jumping from 18-wheeler to 18-wheeler to get to the end of the level. And there's just, like, hundreds of them, and they're crashing into each other, and then you have to dodge, like, light poles or street sign, you know what I mean? Like, over the road.
Yeah, it's like a first-person game, and, yeah, it looks insane.
It looks really cool. I was actually, when I saw it, I was sort of surprised, like, oh, wow, like, this isn't exactly what I was thinking it was going to be, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun. It looks like really fast-paced, like something where it'd be like, oh, I died, but you're sort of right back into it, and you just keep trying and learning the level and dodging all these crazy things while jumping from truck to truck. Cluster Truck. What a good name.
Yep. But next up, get the hype train started. Nintendo files patent for Donkey Konga drums and keyboard. Now, I don't know what the keyboard is.
Yeah, I don't think it was a Donkey Konga keyboard. I think it was just a keyboard kind of thing for
well, that
for
makes
the
me
Switch.
think that nothing's going on, because who cares about a keyboard?
Well, I know Phantasy Star Online is coming to the Switch, right?
Yeah.
So maybe didn't that game use a keyboard?
I don't know, Casey. I mean, yeah, it did, but wouldn't they just do voice chat now?
Good one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, interesting. I mean, like you said, the keyboard, whatever, really. But the Donkey Konga drums are more exciting, I think. I wonder if they would
heck yeah.
would bring back, you know, maybe a release of the older games. But I guess if you're gonna go through the trouble of making these Donkey Konga drums, you'd think it would probably be for a new title. You know, like, would you go through the trouble of making an extra controller for a port of an old game or a re-release, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, Yeah.
I mean,
I was just...
There's a good chance it's nothing, too. Like, oh, well, we just want to keep the patents going or something, you know, but...
That's definitely it, yeah.
Probably, but...
I was watching the show Chuck. Have you seen that show?
No, sir.
And anyway, he has a pair of Donkey Konga bongos on his shelf. And I just saw it the other day. I'm like, hey, look at that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep.
I love it.
Well, he's like a nerd. Like, that's the... So...
Sounds about right if he's got a pair of Donkey Konga drums.
Heck yeah. But speaking of nerds.
To wrap us up here, like I said, we weren't lying when it was a light news block here. Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy for the Switch, removes all Naughty Dog references throughout. As we know, Naughty Dog is, I guess they're a second-party developer for Sony. So it makes sense. They're the original developers of Crash. I guess now that Activision holds that IP or whatever.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's strange. I guess it makes sense to take any Naughty Dog reference out, you know? I mean...
I guess. But they developed the game, though, right?
The original, yeah. Like I said, I mean, when the credits roll, you're still going to see...
They didn't develop this one?
I don't think so. It was probably one of the situations where they're like, they pass it off to, like, a development team to just do it, you know? Like, oh, here's the game. Like,
who cares? That's so weird, isn't it?
You know, it was probably just tiny little things, like stupid little Easter eggs that were just easy to take out, you know? I guess... I don't know.
I guess. It just seems so bizarre. Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting, for sure. Like, they're releasing the game. You know, like, why can't it just be what it is? And
yeah,
who cares,
I mean,
you know?
I don't know. I guess Sony doesn't want any... I don't know. Like I said, I think it makes sense, I guess. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, is it really that big of a deal? Like, no. But
no, it's not. That's what I mean. Like, in both ways, it's like...
But
I don't care if they take it out, but it's also like, why are you even going to the trouble? Like, who cares? So anyway,
I guess somebody over there, some Jimmy cared enough.
Yep, there's probably a legitimate. It's
yeah,
probably just
licensing or some BS.
Yeah, it's probably just licensing. Is really what it is. So.
But yeah, so that's going to bring us to an end on the news. Again, like I said, if you have not already listened to episode 66.5, that is our entire breakdown of the entire Direct. So if you have not heard that and you want to hear our thoughts on everything that went down on the Nintendo Direct for Thursday, that is definitely going to be the place to check out. But we're going to take a little breather, and then we've got a topic of the show and some listener mail before we hit the old Dusty. So I want to go get a drink.
Compatible. Compatible.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have jumped on our Circle Pad Pro XLs, and we've waded through the waters to come give a little rundown of this strange peripheral. Now,
that's right, and so that's what we said. The hint was it was because it's a boat, right? That was
it's joke. Huge. It is huge.
Yeah. Especially the XL.
Yeah, this is
looking.
A very strange peripheral, but it makes sense when you think about when it was released and sort of you can see why it was developed in the first place. Now, to give a little background, this is a attachment that goes onto your 3DS, and what it does is it adds the extra shoulder button, so it gives you that ZL and ZR button. It gives you a second circle pad, and it also puts another R button on this actual piece that connects to the 3DS, because the way it sort of snaps into the 3DS, it makes that R button really difficult to get to, so they give you a new one of those, which makes sense, because essentially what it does is when you put the 3DS in it, it just has like a big attachment to the right, like almost like another controller, like handle, and then that's where that second circle pad is and where that R button is. And Yeah, this was released originally in Japan in 2011, December 10th, 2011, coinciding with the release of Monster Hunter 3G.
And there you have it. The whole reason it exists.
Yes, sir.
Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no other reason why this thing exists. I mean, there are reasons afterwards.
Capcom said, we are not going to release it without the second analog stick.
And Nintendo
that's how we want it to be.
Got it done.
And that was the best thing they could have done. Honestly, I feel like... obviously you can play the game without it, right? You don't need it. But I just mean...
It's rough, yeah. You don't want to. It's not ideal.
Yeah, and Nintendo needed to secure that Monster Hunter license, because that was the reason that the PSP did anywhere near it did. And I was just thinking about this the other day, because I was thinking, if 3DS didn't do that and Vita did get Monster Hunter, that might have been seriously like a legitimate like game changer for
the fates of
what
both
happened.
systems.
Yeah, the fates of both. I'm not saying it would severely make the 3DS, but I think it would have definitely given the Vita a big boost, and it would have been very interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, it definitely would have been interesting for sure.
Because the PSP was the home of Monster Hunter. And I think it just had to... I wonder what Capcom thought, or what Sony thought of Capcom for, like, taking it to Nintendo,
I guess they were going to go where the money was, and the 3DSs were selling. So I guess, though, early on, it released in 2011, December. I forget. I know the 3DS came out, what was it? Was it February in America?
No, it was April, I believe.
Okay, you know what? February, I'm looking. February was the Japanese release date. So it had been out for close to a year, I guess. So... but I know the 3DS didn't jump off the page right at launch, But yeah, I don't know.
No.
I guess maybe they already had a deal in the works. But yeah, it would have been interesting if how things would have shaken out a little differently. But what's surprising is the peripheral made its way to the United States not that far after. In February of 2012, it came out in North America, and that time it coincided with the release of Resident Evil Revelations, another Capcom game.
And honestly, I played Revelations on 3DS with the new 3DS nub, and boy, I wish I would have had the Circle Pad Pro. I think that would have been a very comfortable, awesome game to play.
Well, I can touch on that, but I'll get into that in a minute. Now, These were the release dates for the original Circle Pad Pro. Now, the beautiful big boat we were talking about is the Circle Pad Pro XL, which released in Japan November 2012 and April of 2013 in North America. Now, it's so just weird. Comical. Because I guess... when you're holding a 3DS XL in your hands, it's a pretty sizable console. It's not.
It is, yeah.
It's not huge in the sense it's like, overbearing or anything. But it's a solid console. But when you attach this Circle Pad Pro, man, it adds
it's a Wii U gamepad.
It's huge.
It feels like it. It is, yeah. It's comfortable. It's super comfortable.
But it just sort of takes away that portability aspect. Unless if you got a backpack that you could sort of throw the Pro into. But
now, question, because I do have one, but I haven't used it. Do you need to do any sort of screwing on?
Nope.
Or anything like that?
It just pops right in and it pops right out. Yep.
So conceivably you could put this in a backpack and
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Like you could put your 3DS in its normal case and then.
That would probably be the best way. Yeah. To play it portably or bring it with you. I guess if you had a backpack, you could keep it in the Pro if you had it sort of secured in the backpack. But yeah, I bought one of these. Revelations was on sale for like $20, half off, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I've been wanting to play this game, and I know the Circle Pad Pro is sort of the way to play it if you went out of your way to get one of them. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting the game for half off. I'm gonna buy the Circle Pad Pro XL to go with my XL here, and I'm gonna play this the way it should be played. Like the optimal way. So I don't remember exactly. I mean, this was well after the 2013 April release in America. So this, I'd imagine, was 2014. Would be my guess is when I bought this. So I had to import it from Japan. So it's like the LL as it's referred to. I think it cost me about $20 by the time it was all said and done with shipping and everything. So not terribly expensive. They did have to send over like an 18-wheeler to drop it off at my house, but aside from that aspect, once you get it in, like I said, you open it up, you just sort of pop it in. It's really easy and simple to set up, and it feels really good. It's comfortable. Like you said, it gives you a lot more real estate even just to hold in your hands. And
right.
How a 3DS is flat, this sort of adds some curvature to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely comfortable. And it like you said, it gives you another circle pad. So when I was playing Revelations in the car underneath my blanket, you were controlling optimally is all I'm trying to say. Although let me recommend, do not play Revelations in a bright car. It is totally not the way to play it.
No, but you know what? To be honest, I think. See, I wish that this is the only thing. I really wish that they actually made one for the new 3DS, which I know that's silly, but it's just because that nub is awful. I do not like the nub. If you're using it for this kind of a game,
precise control.
For camera control, it's great. It's not great, but it's okay. Like it works fine. But yeah, for precision, like dual analog control, I don't think it works that good. But it's like, to me, the immersion of the 3D is so good Resident Evil Revelations is seriously one of the most amazing looking 3DS games out there. I mean, it looks so good and the 3D is cool. So it's like, I feel like maybe on the 3DS XL with the Circle Pad Pro XL, that might be like my favorite way of playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just because of the immersion, because it looks so good and it plays good, and it would feel comfortable like that.
Yeah, having that second circle pad is so nice. It makes you wish, like, man, I wish they found a way to get that second circle pad.
It would have been so
just on
easy.
the console. Even if that nub was like, I wish that nub was a legitimate circle pad. I mean, I don't mind the nub. I don't mind the nub. But yeah, no, I think it would totally. It just makes you wonder why. I mean,
it's
I guess
so silly.
You know what?
Like,
I'm thinking maybe did they try and restrict, like they didn't want to give the full circle pad because then all the new games would utilize it and it would make the like this is a new exclusive, and maybe that was sort of a way to like, hey, it's here for like camera control, but like don't take advantage of it too much,
That's probably what it is. Actually, that's actually a valid point, Case. But it's also kind of silly because it's like, well, how about for the people who really want it and will buy things because of it? It's like,
but think of all those ugly box arts you'd have to look at that said only for new 3DS XL.
I don't think they're that ugly. Have you seen them? They're not like this,
They're borderline Switch, aren't they? If you look at like the Xenoblade Chronicles, isn't it pretty? I mean, like you said, it's not maybe as glaring as.
No, it's just on a different side.
Well, I'm looking. It's on the front cover.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's just a stripe at the top instead of like a
instead
huge...
of on the side.
Oh, is that what you were complaining about?
What are you talking about?
I thought the reason you didn't like the Switch like Resident Evil box was because it had that huge thing on the like that big white bar on the top that was like you need an internet connection. Yeah. So the 3DS Xenoblade has that same thing.
Yeah, but they just take it from look at other 3DS games though, Casey. It just they take it from the side and they put it on the top.
Yeah, I get it, but it's a little thicker. than like the standard
thicker.
one.
It's
not
looks
as
good,
noticeable.
It's not disgusting with it's not huge with disgusting tiny text, and it's not like it looks like part of the box. So.
I love how angry that gets you.
I'm glad you love that, Casey.
Well, it's funny because you were like, well, who displays their boxes front out, or I said that, and then you're like, well, I do. And I was like, oh man, I guess I never realized like anyone did that. Mine are always just sort of tucked in the line,
Right.
But
yep.
But yeah,
I mean that's Circle Pad Pro and the XL. I mean they made an XL version, and I believe that was only available from Nintendo. The Circle Pad Pro, right?
That I'm not 100%.
I'm pretty sure you could only buy that from Nintendo, and that's why it was kind of rare, maybe.
That would make sense why I had to import it.
Yeah. I think it was like a limited release from Nintendo, from their site, something like that. Maybe something about that, or maybe no. Oh, I might be thinking of the new 3DS dock. That might be what I'm thinking of, or the XL dock. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Anyway,
there's a handful of games that utilize the XL, or not necessarily the XL, but the Pro. And we touched on Monster Hunter, Resident Evil. You got Ace Combat, Metal Gear Solid, Kid Icarus Uprising, and good ones.
That Kid Icarus Uprising is very interesting for its inclusion of the Circle Pad Pro, because remember, like, that game would have been drastically different.
It would have been so much better.
You know what I mean? It would have been more. I don't know if it'd be better.
Because remember they had to release it with like that stand.
Yeah, no, I do know. I'm a huge fan of Kid Icarus Uprising.
I need to go back and play that game, man.
It's so good, dude. And it looks amazing. I mean, that's definitely up there as well as one of the best looking games on. But yeah, I mean, it would have drastically changed it. But remember, the Circle Pad did not offer dual analog or anything. It was just there for left-handed players.
Well, see, if they had implemented it correct, like went back and sort of made it work with that second Circle Pad,
Oh, they couldn't have done that like easily. I mean, the game was completely set up to use swipes and stuff on the screen. It wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it wouldn't have been like hey, port this control scheme to that
it would have
thing.
been like
it's like there has to be an actual change in the gameplay. So, but I mean, I just remember hearing. It could have been Sakurai or someone from Nintendo saying along the lines of, because people are like, why didn't you put in the dual analog with it? And then they basically said, you guys were even lucky that we could even get the Circle Pad Pro functionality in there for the left-handers to begin with. Like, I remember hearing something like that, and I was thinking, that was kind of funny.
And he's like, no one's buying the Circle Pad Pro anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they made a good show. I mean, actually, if they did do that, I bet it would have been a way. I mean, it wouldn't have been so, divisive if they would have had that Circle Pad Pro, that true dual analog shooter option. I mean, man, I'd love to play that game like that. That's coming from a guy that I love the game, especially if you have a big stylus to play it with.
Yep.
And the stand does help if you can play it like that. But I played it without it just fine.
Yeah, that's a game I'd like to go back, because I remember buying that game when I wasn't like super huge into playing many console games, so I remember playing it a little bit here and there, but never really gave it the true shake.
It's so good. I love it. Yeah.
So that I demand it. No, that might be a game one of these days.
No, that would be good. We demand we. That would be a good one. Seriously.
But then you'd have to play your 3DS.
I'd love to. I'd love to play Kid Icarus Uprising.
But yeah, definitely an interesting footnote in the 3DS history, especially when, like you said, they went down to release the new 3DS, which, like you said, I guess to a lesser degree, but essentially gives you everything that a Circle Pad Pro offers, minus the true
Exactly. It's like it's a blessing for a lot of things, and it's a hindrance on a little things. Like, for instance, Jules' game, Moon, which I don't see it listed on here. So, but I know that has support for it, and it's just not that good. The nub is so hard on the new 3DS, so it just doesn't work that well with the shooters. But anyway, yeah, we can keep going through the games. We got Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, which I believe that seems like that'd be a great game for that Circle Pad Pro.
Yeah, I know it went on like Monster Hunter 4 and Dragon Quest X, which I always forget the 3DS version of that game. But of course, it was in Majora's Mask 3D. I think that was
that sounds awesome to play Majora's Mask with the Circle Pad Pro.
Yeah, because that works with the camera controls.
I remember that was the game I was playing when I switched from the XL to the new 3DS XL, because I remember playing like the first like half of it without the camera control, and then having the camera control.
Night and day,
and it was like awesome. It was amazing. Oh yeah. So and then I was like, man, the new 3DS really does, like, there might not be a lot of exclusive software for it, but it enhances a lot of software, like Codename Steam.
Yep.
Which I was gonna say, Codename Steam would be a fantastic game to play on the Circle Pad Pro.
With the update that makes the other enemies go faster.
Oh yeah.
The way it should have been released, maybe I don't know if it would have seen a lot more success. Obviously it's sort of I guess I don't know. It just didn't get much reception, and then I think anyone who did play it was
game.
Yeah, with like the super long load times. I just wonder if it had like all those things going for it at launch. If it might have had a better fate.
Right.
But. Right. Yeah, I mean, definitely a cool little, like I said, a cool little peripheral for the 3DS. I'm glad I own one. Like I said, I mean, hopefully I have a spot to keep it. It takes up a lot of real estate, but.
Well, remember, it's only for your 3DS XL. Which, do you have that still?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that'd be you have to play on that, but. Yeah, I mean, the other thing, the other last game, I mean, I see that there's Metroid Prime Federation Force.
I think...
Is that for left-handed or something? Like, what?
I think it's probably just the camera control.
But, no, there's no dual analog camera control.
Are you sure?
In Metroid. I'm sure I would have heard of that.
Well, don't you play with... A new 3DS, you never use the nub at all? I feel like in a game if I'm playing a game like that, I'm I would naturally go to that, even if it didn't work. You know what I mean?
Wait. So was there camera movement in there?
Honestly, I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember that.
I'm trying to see if I could pull it up somewhere online, but I haven't. Let's see.
Yeah, I guess I've people can play it with the Circle Pad Pro.
Non-motion config B. I guess they're going over the different. Having said, many players will prefer the tactile option, and the prospect of matching the more sensible trigger as a method of rapid fire instead of transitioning into gyro. Here, you'll need to aim manually using the right analog nub or this Circle Pad Pro analog stick. It's a recipe.
Yeah, so I would much rather use the Circle Pad Pro, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't think there would ever be an option where you'd rather use that nubber.
Yeah, exactly. But, like I said, I mean, with Majora's Mask.
Yeah, but imagine you could do that camera control with an actual stick opposed to the nub.
I know it would have been better for sure. I just mean it wasn't a big deal. But it's like with games where So that's cool. I mean, like I said, the Circle Pad Pro, it really was cool and it added a lot of functionality. And the new 3DS kind of took it all, but it just took that. It took the nice Circle Pad,
the best part of it,
nub, and anything that really needed that utilized it. I feel like it wasn't as good. So,
like I said, they they took everything, all the mediocre aspects of the Circle Pad Pro and put them onto the new XL or the new DS, and they left the good part absent.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? You can't have them all.
Well, Case, I believe we got through another compatible segment about the Circle Pad Pro, the boat.
The old boat ski. Yeah, it's been a hot second since we've done a compatible, so it was nice to revisit it. Nice to and like you said, when you suggested the Circle Pad Pro, that would be one that I would definitely not come to my mind to talk about, and I think that's why it's fascinating to talk about it.
Absolutely. But let's move on to our last little segment before we go, which is some listener mail from our pal Holden. And Casey, why don't you take it?
Sure. Hello again, Talk Nintendo. It's been a long time coming, but I was finally able to get my hands on Shadows of the Colossus via the PS4 remake. The game's quite something. As I was playing it, I determined that it would be real swell if the team Ico got whisked away from Sony and began to work with Nintendo, perhaps as a part of the Zelda team. I want for nothing more than on Nintendo systems if such a thing happened. Okay. Additionally, unlike, say, EA, developers are better for it when they're close proximity to Nintendo. So my question to you, what's the developer you want most to join Nintendo's ranks? I was also wondering what it would take to join your Splatoon crew. I have nearly 200 hours in the game, and I'm not half bad, but alas, I've yet to play with the crew. Thanks, love the show, Holden. P.S. What happened to your YouTube competitions? Those were some of the best videos on YouTube, in my opinion. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Holden, for another wonderful email. I guess let's save the developer, because that's probably what we'll get into the most. As far as the YouTube competitions, we sort of took a little breather there with trying to figure out how things were working. But I believe within the next couple weeks, right, we want to start getting that up on Nintendo World Report TV on YouTube, which is, I think we're going to start bringing some of the older ones over there from the Talk Nintendo podcast YouTube, and then I believe we're going to start trying to get some new ones in there as well, and sort of bring that back to life. I know we sort of let it go to the wayside with the busy schedules, but we're good.
Oh yeah. But thank you for that compliment. Yes, I agree that I think the videos are tons of fun. So they're fun to play. Sure to check out. Hopefully, we'll be doing more Talk Nintendo challenges with other people as well. I mean, we might kind of rebrand them actually as like Nintendo World Report challenges or something like that with other staff members. But it'll be great. So thank you again. And
as far as Splatoon goes, I mean, I guess the best way would be Twitter
and show up on Friday night at our.
We're gonna be playing Friday. Again, I mean, if you're on Twitter and you want to shoot me a message, or maybe I'll email you back with my friend's code. Yeah, and we definitely, I do not play as much Splatoon as Perry does. But we were playing the other day. But he will
play with us.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we will get something together. Heck yeah, we always need another crew member. So
now on to the big boy question here. What developer would you want to join Nintendo's ranks the most?
I got my answer if you want to think about yours if you don't know.
Yes, let's go with that.
Okay, so mine would definitely, absolutely, no doubt be Rocksteady, the creators of the Arkham games, which are my favorite third-party games. They are incredible games. Rocksteady. I mean, they have developed, I think, because they started in 2004, and their first game was called Urban Chaos Riot Response for PlayStation 2 and Xbox. So, but then after that, they have Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, and Arkham VR. And, man, I don't even know what they're working on now. I think they've said a lot about that they're kind of done with Arkham. Like, that's what the final one was. Mm-hmm. We'll see if that stays. They always say they're done with Batman, but who, you know what I mean? But those are some of the finest games. Oh, I love them so much. So I would love for them, and I think that you apply that to a Metroid. I mean, because it is a Metroidvania game. I mean, it's an open world that style. I mean, obviously it's not the same style as Metroid, but I mean it would be. I mean, you set it up as Samus, and then you're a bounty hunter, and then you get some sweet traversal, and if they put the same amount of detail into it, just kill me now, Casey. That would be the best thing in the world. I would just love for them to bring their stuff to Nintendo, which they have, like they have done. They did do Arkham City on the Wii U. So and then they also did have their the port, or not the Arkham Origins that they didn't do, that WB, I believe Montreal did. But I mean, they had 2 Arkham games on the Wii U. I would love for those to come over to Switch, even that, because I'd love to play them on the go. But also Arkham City, if that would come. Or, like I said, make the new game. Make the new game with Nintendo. Partner up with them. Maybe that's what they're doing. Who knows? That's probably not what they're doing. But, a man can dream, Case. A man can dream.
He sure can.
Yep.
Now, for me, I'm trying to think, right? So he's talking about stealing someone away from Sony. I mean, naturally, for me, when I think of, developers that I'm interested in that aren't on a Nintendo console, is on that Sony, ecosystem. I don't really play Microsoft, Xbox too much or anything like that. I did like the Gears of War back in the day. I never really got into Halo or anything like that. So I don't have many from that perspective that I'd really want to get on board with Nintendo. Now, when I think of games and stuff that are on Sony consoles that I would want on the Switch to steal away, I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to Naughty Dog. They've got the Last of Us is those games.
Well, they are coming.
Oh yeah. Well, not anymore. They stole all of it away.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I think of Naughty Dog. I think I got into the Uncharted series pretty late. I got the collection. I played through them all, including the most recent, as well as the DLC for 4, which I talked about probably quite a number of episodes ago at this point. Mm-hmm. But really fun series. I really, really loved The Last of Us. Again, I played that on the re-release for PS4. So to me, if there was some way to get that team to work on something for Nintendo, I mean, obviously never, ever, ever going to happen. But it would fill a genre that Nintendo really doesn't have, like that more really theatrical, telling a story, like a real gritty story, but also, has the gameplay to go along with it. I think it would be interesting. I also think of something like Rockstar, if we could, like Red Dead. Imagine Red Dead on Switch. That'd be insane. I do think we could maybe see a Grand Theft Auto 5 at some point. It's all over the place. I mean, it's out on 360.
Is that what you'd most want, though? I mean, would you? Would you love Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Switch?
Oh well, no.
Or are you thinking more of like a business sense? What do you think would be?
I mean, I would buy it. I would buy it for sure, and I'd play it. I'm definitely interested in Red Dead Redemption 2. Like that would be, or that will likely be a game I buy. Like you said, I don't really buy too many PlayStation games at this point, just because I don't have time. But that's going to be a game I would be interested in. But yeah, I guess that would be more business. So I mean, more games I really would be excited to play would be like a Last of Us 2, and I mean, and I guess if there was some way to be like, yo, Capcom, Resident Evil 8, Switch exclusive.
Yes.
Let's go, I mean, like, obviously that would be a dream. But I would just be happy if it just came out on the Switch. It doesn't need to be exclusive.
Right.
Yeah, I guess, so I guess I would go, if I could steal one developer, I guess it would be a Naughty Dog. Be like, take that, all Sony, right. What do you got now? What you got now? Yeah. And they'll be like, Horizon. Like, that's all right. You keep it.
That's funny. Well, very good. Holden, thank you for the email.
Yes, thank you.
if anyone wants to send us emails, which we want everyone... I wish everyone listening to this would send us an email with a question. It'd be amazing. Well, we wouldn't be able to actually...
It'd be the longest episode ever going through all that.
Don't do that. But please email us at talknintendopodcast@nintendoworldreport.com. If you don't want to type all that out, you can also just do Perry@nintendoworldreport.com or Casey@nintendoworldreport.com. That would be fine as well.
It's a really easy option to do as well if you don't even feel like busting out the old email book there.
What's that?
You can jump over to Twitter at TalkNintendoPod. That is...
TalkNintendoPod.
Yep, you can send us your questions there. Honestly, that might be... I mean, it'd be easier for us so we don't lose it via email, but we will be marking down any questions coming in through Twitter, so... we encourage you any way you want to fire any questions our way. We would love to have them.
Please do. Please, yes.
Now, just a little house cleaning before we wrap up the show here. Again, we've mentioned before, this Friday, March 16th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Talk Nintendo Game Night. We're going to be probably focusing on some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, some Rocket League, depending on how it goes. Probably, maybe get some Splatoon in there. Of course,
some Revelations too.
Yep. Of course, if we're there and everyone wants to play one game, we're not gonna stick to our guns and say no, only Mario Kart 8. It's gonna be loose. It's just gonna be a fun little thing, and like you said, a giveaway, right?
We'll have a giveaway. It'll be something fun for sure. And also, I was gonna say, to prepare yourself, we are gonna be on the NWR Discord.
Boom. Yep.
That's what we use. So we kind of didn't really say that last time, but how do you join that? I mean, is there anything that people need to know to join that? I'm not big on Discord.
Just go to our Twitter and I will have our Discord channel, like the invite or the link you need to find to get in there. So, and then
awesome. I
think one last thing we should also mention before closing out the show here is PAX East is coming up in just a couple weeks. 3 weeks from the date this launches, we'll be at PAX. Of course, if you're there, we'd love to, hang out. If you guys want to come say hi or whatever, play some games. But we're also going to be doing a panel. NWR's got 2 panels with Nintendo World Report at PAX East. The first one will be Friday, the 6th at 7:30 p.m. Who Wants to Be a Nintendo-Ware? That is...
those are always lots of fun.
Yep, of course it is a Nintendo-themed game show for you guys to partake in and win some really cool prizes. And then on Sunday at noon, the Nintendo Switch's surprise first birthday party. And I will be on that panel. And Perry, I believe you were slated to, but with flights, right? I don't think it's going to work out.
I probably won't be able to make it.
Unfortunately. But yeah, I'll be there. We're going to be ranking top 5 Switch games among some other fun activities and prizes given out at that one as well. So if you are in Boston, checking out PAX East in a couple weeks, we will be there. And yeah, should be good.
Wonderful. Fun. Oh man, it was so much fun last year. It's going to be even better this year.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully it's not -50.
I hope not. I'm hoping the April date will give us a little more warmth.
I'm pretty sure that's why they switched it.
They were like, we got to think of Caitlin's poor little cold bones.
She almost died. Yep. You don't care about Randy, but
yeah, whatever.
All right, well, Case, thank you for yet another podcast, another episode of Talk Nintendo, and I will see you. Well, I'll probably talk to you. Well, no, I won't talk to you till next episode.
Yeah, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see you later. Giddy up.
Adios.
I don't know, Casey. I mean, yeah, it did, but wouldn't they just do voice chat now?
Good one. The customability of that game is unbelievable. Hey, I'm Kevin James. Let's go Mets.